back. We are having a very special video today. This is going to be talking about toxic fandom. And so let me get a really good friend of mine on the call. So let's get back into it with Kerbo Turbo. Welcome back to the channel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. Oh my god.
You ready
Cannot
to
wait to
delve
talk
right
about
into
it.
this? Hold on, let me see if I can share my screen with you on Discord. Let's
Okay.
see. Boom, you can look at Twitch Studio. Look what I'm. This is what we're starting with. All right, I want to get right into it.
Wow. Okay.
So let's just talk about how shitty the Full Metal Alchemist fan base is in terms of like them keeping it at number one. Yes, I'm coming for them. I love the show, but my god, the fan base needs to be talked down to.
Oh my god. Are we really doing this? We can't start
We
off with
can,
these
we can.
guys.
This is the content. This is what we're doing. We're going right, like straight up, like we're straight up going for the Full Metal Alchemist fans. I even put it in the tags. That's what we're doing.
Wow. That's something. Good I guess good for you. All right. Yeah, let's talk about them.
They
Yeah,
are
no,
the
they had
most toxic fan base in all of anime.
I
That's it.
I
That's my
would
statement.
disagree. No, I would disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Why? Why? What? They represent some of the worst things ever,
Like what?
like inflating the reviews, like pretending it's perfect. Which it's a damn good show. But
Uh-huh.
perfect? Nah, get it out of here. But what I will say
I
though,
mean, you're right.
what I will say though, it would be okay if they're just inflating their ratings. It happens to any popular anime. But what they also do is they review bomb the shit out of anyone that comes in contact with the number one spot. Like I'm pretty sure what is it, Kaguya for the final episode became like number one or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it was immediately shot down by Full Metal Alchemist fans. Like
Oh,
you can
was
never
it? I
win with
didn't know
them.
that.
Yeah, please. They're never gonna. There's never gonna be a show that's gonna dethrone Full Metal.
I
There's
mean,
no
but
way.
Full Metal is a really good. I think personally, I really like Full Metal. Like, I'm not a part of like, I don't interact with like the fandom itself.
But
Like,
we're
only
not
on like
talking about Full
sporadically.
Metal. If we're talking about the show, then it'd be much nicer talk. I'm talking fandoms.
No, I'm telling you though that I don't interact with the fandom as much for Full Metal, even though like I like sporadically I will, because like some of the like content or like some of like the fan art pieces are really good. But like as a whole, yeah, I mean, are they like awful?
I will concede to say they are one of the worst.
They are one of the worst in regards of not letting other people have a turn or other shows have a turn like being number one, because there
They
are really a lot of good shows that can dethrone Full Metal.
I think like the biggest problem to me is while other shows like for example Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, people will complain, people saying that it's their favorite just because that's the only show they watched, you know?
Right.
With Full Metal, it's the opposite, but it's still toxic. Like for example, they're so well kept in gatekeeping the number one spot. It's like it has to be Full Metal. It has to be. There's no other show that no, there's no other
Right.
show that they can just like. Even though there's so many great shows that have come out since Brotherhood, it's been years. They won't give
Right.
it up. They're gonna keep fighting. It's crazy.
No, you're exactly right. But I think calling them the worst fan base in anime is a stretch.
I wanted to say something that was a hot take that would make people continue listening.
Ah,
This
yes.
is the
I
bait.
I see. Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah, that's gonna be
That
my
makes a
clickbait title too for
oh, your
this.
clickbait title.
Oh, by the way, did I tell you our My Hero Academia video? I was telling you, right? It popped off. Like
I
clearly a lot of
heard.
people wanted to
I
hear about it.
heard. I heard. I'm very happy about it, but also talking about fan bases. Oh no. What a fan base that
Oh,
is.
the My Hero fan base. I mean, why don't we revisit one of the most classic examples of cringe that the My Hero Academia fan base has committed?
Which part
Literally
are
in
we
a
talking
live
about?
convention, I mind you, a Deku cosplayer. Remember that video
Yes, I do. I
with the
think you
blow up
sent it to
doll? Yeah,
I
it
think you sent
was.
it to me. I was
Yeah,
scarred for life. I I have a lot of mixed feelings about My Hero because of the fan base and not even because of like the media itself. I think that the media itself is like, it's like middle of the road. Like it's like everyone's gateway anime, you know? But at the same time, I think fans, especially younger fans, coming for your teen audience right here now, but yeah, sorry. I think they're just so fucking cringe and I cannot. I can't.
Oh, the worst part is when they like obsess. No, it's like you can obsess over anime, right? I obsess over it, you obsess over it,
Right. Right,
but there's
yeah.
a line
Right.
with them and some fans. The line, they're like, wait, there's a line. There's supposed to be a line, because they'll
Yeah,
take
I think
literally
yeah.
like if something happens to this character, I will kill myself, and I'm
And
like,
that has happened
what?
before. And that literally that happened with when spoiler alert when
We already
Bakugo
talked
beat
about
it.
spoilers. Like, I don't think like people are gonna.
I
We
don't
already put it
care.
on our
But
channel. We're fine with
I don't
manga
care.
spoilers.
When spoiler alert, when Bakugo beats it, a bunch of people like tried to attempt it. I was like, what are y'all doing? He's not real.
He's a
He's not
fictional
real.
character.
He's not real, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and then so
Oh my
there's
god.
there's that, and then there's also like I would say arguably one of the worst things too is the obsessiveness over shipping. Don't get me wrong,
Oh,
I am a
shipping.
big fan of shipping with romance shows in particular.
Right.
I'm a big fan because when I see it done and it's very niche, I actually think it's very wholesome. Everyone's supportive
Yeah.
of each other. Like,
Yeah.
if my person doesn't win, I hope yours does too. And it's like, oh, right back at you. That's with the
Right.
niche stuff.
Right.
When you get to things like My Hero Academia, it becomes a war zone. It's like people are
No,
taking
and
up
you're
arms. People are literally experimenting like mad scientists on who has the best chemistry with who, even though they're literally adults and children.
No, and you're exactly right. Here, I have a lot of strong opinions about shipping. You know this.
Go
Um,
ahead. Go off.
as
Go off.
as someone who as someone who regularly consumes like fan fiction and fan media and stuff like that, I think that there comes to be a point, especially like when you get older, like I'm an adult in fandom spaces and I'm okay like you know separating myself from like fiction and reality because that's what I do as an adult because
Mhm.
you have to be an adult at some point. I think for some people though that the problem of it is that they can't do that. They can't separate the fiction from the reality. And so sending someone death threats on Twitter because they don't agree with your ship is not okay. And I don't think some people understand that at this point in our lives. And it's like, what are y'all do? You know what? I'm going to leave y'all alone. And that's why I don't interact with a lot of like fandom space on the internet. Like actively interact, like I'll passively like read a fan fiction, like some fan art or something like that. Like that's passive, but like I don't actively put out fandom content because of that. And I don't want to be associated with that. And so that's why.
Yeah, and it's so rough because it's like I just want to enjoy a nice like show. And if you have like a ship that, like for example, like Deku Uraka, that's right, probably gonna be, or sorry, Midoriya. I keep saying Deku, it's Midoriya.
Damn.
Um, it's like okay, that's what the author's pretty much setting up, and it's pretty much endgame because he's
Right.
basically confirmed it on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
I, however, disagree. I think he's much better with what's that girl's name from the support class? I'm blanking on her name right now.
Hatsume,
Hatsume, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
the support girl, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's much better with her because I personally think they have better chemistry together, even though they have the
Okay.
least amount of screen time. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna send like say like do you believe like what's your like you wait, I remember yours is you don't care what they are.
I
Wait till
don't I
adulthood.
don't
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that this particular like my hero, like and where they're particularly at in the manga itself, I don't think that there is any room to talk about shipping. Maybe when they're older, maybe when we're not, fighting a war. It's been going on for like 2 years now at this point. Like you gotta, I can't keep up with anything else. You gotta
well,
end it
well,
and
have
then
you
give
heard?
me like a time skip.
Yeah, well, yeah. Have you heard the joke where it's like My Hero Academia fans are fighting two war zones? One is the actual war story going on, and one is their actual fandom.
Yeah, no. Inside of you, there are two wolves, and both of them are fighting about my hero at any given point.
Yeah, and I'm like, And they're like, I don't know why, like, there's no like romance like development. I'm like, to your point, they're fighting a war. What do
Right.
you want them to take a break and make out? It's like, like,
Exactly.
it's crazy. And also the fact that I don't know, My Hero is one. It's a shonen, and I think what's the funniest thing too is people are making all these ships. I'm like, you do realize it's a shonen, and shonen is on record for having like, their main, the main character and their love interest not get together until the very end, and even then, it's maybe hand-holding, if we're lucky.
Right.
Like, it's shonen, like, if you want a romance show where the characters actually get together and have relationships, watch a romance show. Shonen's not gonna do that for you, because all that shonen
Right.
cares about is gonna be the action. Let's be honest here. Yeah.
No, you're so right, and I think that a lot of shonen, they like hint and tease, and like that's fine, whatever. But like, to your point, I agree. You want a romance? Go watch a romance.
Go watch
Go
Yuri
watch
on
Fruits
Ice.
Basket. Oh my God, Yuri on Ice. Love Yuri on Ice. 10 out of 10.
Yes, I can't wait for that
Shout
movie.
out. I will leave the call right now. I will leave the call. Oh, those are fighting words.
Yeah. Which, you know what's funny? A lot of people like bash on Yuri on Ice, but I would say at least, and this was when like these are My Hero fans. I'm like, at least their fan base isn't toxic.
No,
They're
it
not
really isn't.
not to the
It really
extent of My Hero. That's what I
Right.
mean.
It
Yeah.
really isn't because honestly, the fan base kind of died when the show ended in like 2016, which is really sad to say. Um, but like I think that like the show for like I love talking about Yuri Nice. I think the show is still really good. Also, it provided Mappa literally it kept Mappa from literally going bankrupt. So now you have all these like little like shonen shows, and I'm like, my boys skated so y'all could watch Attack on Titan. I hate y'all. I hate y'all so much. I can't forgive the Attack on Titan fandom for what they did. How dare they?
The Attack on Titan fandom is probably one of the most egregious, and it's not even shipping. That's the big issue with them. Because let's be honest, there's
Is this
basically
the
no
war
ships.
propaganda?
No, it's the constant annoyance of just being like a little shit. That's what I'm
Oh
gonna call
yeah.
it. Because what they
Yeah.
do, and get this, I'm watching on Verve, and there's two things coming out: Attack on Titan Part One, and hey, what's
Right.
up, Misael? He's watching right now. But there's Attack on Titan, um, which was airing was part one, and then there was also Demon Slayer, I think at the same time, and they were I think it was the Entertainment District arc, at
Mhm.
this time, or maybe it would have is the arc before then. But anyways, Attack they were both simultaneously playing, and so I'm watching both on my streaming service, and I go into the comments of Demon Slayer. I'm not risking the Attack on Titan because people will love to spoil shit. Even with
Right.
spoiler tags, they don't care. In the Demon
Right.
Slayer, someone goes out of their way to post 5 messages back to back spoiling a death of a character, which was Sasha.
Oh.
And so
Oh,
I
okay.
got
I see.
spoiled of her death like literally the episode before it happened. And I was upset on a Demon Slayer, you know?
Okay.
So to me, the Attack on Titan fandom is one of the most toxic because they will literally just read the manga just to spoil it for people, you know?
Right. I mean, if we're talking true toxicity,
Yeah.
Mitchell, I don't know how long you've been in fandom spaces. I've been in fandom since I was in middle school, so like 12.
Hmm.
Um, just because, 12-year-olds when in 2012 when 12-year-olds were really 12 and not 12-year-olds in today's standard,
Yep.
but when 12-year-olds were really 12, we had Wattpad, and let me tell you, Wattpad was some of the wackest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
I'm gonna cuss. uh,
go ahead.
it was some of the wackest shit I've ever seen, but also I remember you talk about toxicity, but I have had experience with the Voltron fandom when that show was coming out.
Oh no. What was that
And let
like?
me tell, oh boy, it was something. So not even talking like seasons because it's an 8 season show on Netflix. So let's talk about we'll say from 6 onwards, so 6 through 8. There was a lot of fan complaint, and the voice actors for the characters were getting death threats because certain ships weren't becoming canon
Oh
to the
no.
fans disliking. So much so that DreamWorks ended up getting sent cupcakes with glass in them because the ship that people wanted wasn't canon by the end of the show. So Voltron fans sent DreamWorks, the studio, glass infused cupcakes. It's
What?
so bizarre. This is like oh god, this was like what, 2016, 2017. It was it was like I was in high school still. But like it was so bizarre to see. Like that was my first like true interaction with like toxic fandoms because I was like I remember reading that. I was like that's a little weird. People are a little too maybe we should back up off this children's show
Yeah,
that
so
we're, watching.
yeah, so for me, it was my earliest fandom was middle school too, but I was in the safe part of fandom because I would I would be watching all I'd be joining the forums on Facebook. And that's
Oh,
heavily
not the
regulated.
Facebook
I
forums.
so it was no, it was good. It was good because we actually posted memes I thought were funny. They're extremely outdated now, but I'm glad because
Right,
every other fandom at that time period was very toxic. Like you had
right.
slurs to loud, just
Ooh,
ear rape,
oh my
just
lord.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I was fine, like
yeah.
I was, but like later on, I would learn about toxic fandoms, and I must say, as someone who is very passionate, and we're gonna change gears here. As someone who is very passionate about my K-pop,
Oh
man,
my god,
those
not
fans,
K-pop stans.
man, those
Oh no,
fans.
we're not gonna. We can drag
Cause,
K-pop
cause
stans.
I
That's fine.
looked
Okay.
up, I joined a Korean culture class and I've watched YouTube videos on it. K-pop fans are insane. Like, not only just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, Jimin is at the airport, and then they'll swarm him in mass, or other idols in mass, and
Yeah,
security are holding them back. And
yeah.
literally, there's this one. It was like a lesser known group than BTS, but pretty popular. Um, like he had to jump out of the ways because girls were literally diving at him. I'm like,
Oh gosh,
damn. I'm
that's
like,
so scary.
I'm like, these poor idols, and like it's bad when you like both for like the male and female idols because they'll be sent letters too, and yeah, you get glass, you get like parts of like people's hair that they cut
Yeah,
off
that's
and
creepy.
tape
I don't like
with like other body parts too that they're able to remove.
that. Ugh,
Like
ugh, gross.
it's oh, I don't want to get more in too much into detail, but man, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother ballpark. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. I have never been upon K-pop stans, you know. I was never a K-pop stan myself. Like I'm still not. Like
That
I
was your
enjoy
biggest
it.
flaw.
Like I'm so sorry. That is my biggest character flaw is not being a K-pop stan. Uh no, my oh my god, shut up. No, I listen to it like casually. I'm not like a huge like K-pop fan, but I have read the horror stories of people getting doxxed, people getting sent death threats, people, just like saying like kill yourself basically on Twitter of all places. God, Twitter is so buck wild. I hate Twitter so much.
Mhm,
Um but like it's so bizarre to see that like people are like, we've come a long way from like, because Star Trek is one of the original founding fandoms, and I love talking about fandom culture. Star Trek was one of the original founding fandoms, especially in like when the internet was first starting to come out, and so in the 80s and the 90s when when forums started being built and like fan fiction websites were trying to be put up on online, like that was such a big thing. And now we're at a point where people are getting like their addresses leaked because you disagree with them on something, and it's so just like bizarre to see that shift happen.
mhm.
It's just it baffles my mind.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's something with I guess with and to me, I used to be a fan of popular things, and I actually have to thank toxic fandoms because once I started getting more into these forums and more into Twitter, I realized how toxic it was. So I actually transitioned to not only have half of my things I like be the mainstream stuff, right? But I also
Hmm.
started watching a lot of more niche like manga and anime, and the fandoms there much more tame, much more supportive of each other. Like
Oh, yeah.
like I think it's like to me the biggest example of toxic fandom, Star Wars. One of
Mm.
the most egregious and
You
it
know,
got
I agree.
worse. It got worse with time because if you think about it, um the and I hate to say this, I'm gonna be honest here. I
Mhm.
was a Raylo stan
Okay. I don't see that's a bad thing, honestly.
up until I think because it was the Last Jedi, and it was up until that moment where she had to pick a side,
Right.
and I was like, it would be awesome. No one hates Star Wars or Star Wars fans more than Star Wars fans. Yes, exactly. Like I was such a big fan of sort of the idea that Rey and Kylo would team up if Rey took like, Kylo's hand after literally slaughtering, Snoke and all
Right.
those, and they would form their own group that is not the light
Okay.
side or the. I was like, that would be sick if they did that. And then Finn became a Jedi, but they said went a different route. But to me, that's why I was like a huge shipper Raylo. I'm like, that would be sick if that happened, and they formed their own like group. That didn't happen.
Right.
But then they made it canon, and this is what I love about the Rise of Skywalker. They made it canon,
Right.
and then they kill him off, so no one's happy. So you did something that the Raylo fans love and everyone else hates, and then proceed to piss off the Raylo fans, the only people you were appealing to. It's like, what are you doing? You know?
I also think Star Wars is also so interesting because, like, it's like right up there with like Star Trek and that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think Star Wars is also so interesting because like people either love to hate it or hate to love it, and there's no in between. With like I've heard you guys complain so much about fucking Star Wars, including especially like the last three, the latest three like movies and like the main like arc canon whatever and
Yeah.
like the main story. um I have heard you guys talk so much about like the problems with it and stuff like that, and then sometimes I'm just like, sometimes I just want to watch people with lightsabers fight each other. And like I don't think anyone can casually enjoy Star Wars anymore because of the fandom.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's gotten bad. I think even in the past, like people were upset that Leia, because let's be honest here, George Lucas didn't plan that. It came in last minute that Luke was Leia's brother
Right.
because they literally kissed in the first movie.
Yes.
So, like, let's be honest here, it wasn't planned. And I know people back in the day were actually pretty butthurt, but because they weren't part of fandoms, online culture didn't exist back then. I don't think you didn't really hear it or feel that. But I
Right.
remember people being upset, like, with interviews I saw later on of people talking about Star Wars. But, yeah, I think, actually, I'm gonna quote one of my, favorite lines from, Honest Trailers, where it's a clip from The Last Jedi, and it's, like, half the Star Wars fan base, and it's that sand planet they're on, and it's one of the troopers, like, putting his finger to the ground, like, putting the salt on his tongue and spitting out and saying, "Ugh, salt." Because that literally summarizes the entire Star Wars fan base. It's just they're full of salt because to your point, right? You either hate it, you hate to love it, or you love to hate it, you know?
Yeah.
There's like yeah,
And I
there's no
think
between. Yeah.
sci-fi, like sci-fi especially, like, I'm not a big fan of sci-fi stuff. Like I'll consume it like casually for like fun, but I'm not like a Trekkie or like whatever Star Wars fans call themselves. I don't know what you call yourselves. Um Bunch of nerds, honestly. I consume it recreationally just because, it's fun. But then I hear people complain about it, and I'm like, why are you complaining? You didn't have to go see it. You know that, right? Like I know people hate watch a lot of things. And let's be honest, I also hate watch a lot of things because that's just how culture is nowadays. You want to root for people you want to root for people you hate. You want to see their descent to madness.
Well, yeah, that was I mean, that was me with Velma. Like,
Oh
everyone
my
in
go
our
oh
Discord
my
was, like,
god.
shitting on me
Yeah,
because
we
I was,
know.
like, I was watching Velma. I
Yeah.
finished it, and now they're
Ew,
getting a
I'm
season
sorry.
2 because a lot of people did the same. They hate watched it.
Right.
Yeah, but, like
I did not hate watch it, unfortunately.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's a funny thing, fandom, because it's, like, on one hand, you have, like, um well, you again, to like, the progression to madness. And I think it's I don't know, to me, I think it's funny because when you look at fandom, like, overall, it's like, you guys do realize we're arguing over fictional characters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Damn," like, we're really getting mad because lines on a paper didn't do the thing you wanted in a certain
Oh,
sequence.
yeah, and I think going back to, anime manga
Yeah.
for a hot minute, I think a lot of that, a lot of, like, fan discourse, especially in anime and manga, came about because of the pandemic, because everyone was at home, everyone was stuck inside, had nothing else to do except for, watch TV and be online, like, there was nothing else to do, and so it made a lot of like things like really toxic for a little bit there. Like I remember the Haikyuu fandom got like really big because of thinking because of one because the season stopped airing in the middle of the because of the pandemic and what happened, and then it picked back up. I think a year later, and it finally finished out that fourth season. But like it got really big, and same with My Hero, same with Jujutsu Kaisen, like all of those like big animes, Demon Slayer too, like all of those big animes. But like fandom got so toxic, especially on TikTok. Oh my god, TikTok. I hate TikTok. TikTok is good for a lot of things, but I don't think it's good for fandom discourse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, I think it's funny because I think a lot of shows and here's truthfully, I was I was on the Demon Slayer train before it blew up, and I'm so thankful I was because I got to
Yeah.
see the before and after. Because I was watching, I think it was like what until the Spider Force arc is when it blew up,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I was watching up to that point, and it was very quote unquote niche. People were actually dropping it because it was 3D animation, but people were like, "No, it's really good 3D animation. Like, give it a shot."
Yeah.
So it was like very niche at that time. And then Ninja, of all people, the streamer, had to make a tweet that went viral saying, "Dude, Demon Slayer was so fucking hype last episode." Boom, it blew up. I think that was like the
Right.
catalyst. And now it was more media attention, more people were finding out about Demon Slayer. And then of course the movie came out, it blew it up even more, right?
Right.
Which the movie rightfully so, it deserved it. But like since you
Movie
had
was good.
everyone now on this hype train, it's like, damn. It's like now you have all the toxic people as well. Like somewhere between like me watching early episodes where everyone was kind of like tame and being like, this isn't for me, or damn, this episode wasn't good, or this was really good, right? Devolved
Mhm.
into let's like post a lot of spoilers now. Let's be like the worst human beings possible. I'm like, I was just kind of shocked by that. But yeah.
I was shocked by it just because, I watched anime when I was like, 14, 15, and then I dropped it because, high school I was busy. And then I didn't get back into it until the pandemic actually because, I had a whole life and I was busy. And then suddenly all of my things got taken away. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'll get back into what my 15-year-old self was doing. And then I never stopped. Uh, it's just one of those things, and like now, like I consistently like watch it. Like I'll watch it. Like I watch dub because I'm a filthy dub watcher. I don't care. But I watch dub like when I'm like doing like household chores, and like I'll pop it on in the background if I need something to like watch. If I need something to watch in the background and stuff like that. I think it's one of those things where I make it a part of my everyday routine. But yeah, you're right. Once anime got like big in the West, like once it became more cool and mainstream and you weren't made fun of for it, it attracted a lot of people, and a lot of people that who would have made fun of you while you were in high school, and attracted those people too.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think so I want to transition from because I want to talk about this and then we can transition into something that combines sort of the overall thing.
Sure.
Sports fans.
Sports
I
fan.
will say, although I like to make fun of anime fans, toxic anime fans, I mind you, for getting mad that fictional characters lines on a page. Like that's not the important part, right? Lines on a page not doing the thing in the sequence that the way you wanted,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like let's be honest, if you're getting that mad, you should learn that anime isn't that important. You're taking it way too seriously, right?
Also learn that like people are still reading what you're writing about them no matter what, and words can hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, so
Don't be a dick is what we're saying.
yeah, so you have that. And then on the flip side, for sports fans, you are seeing some of the most egregious like human conduct put online because of sports fans for
Yeah.
watching a game that,
Yeah.
let's be honest, I simplified animation down to lines on a page. People are just throwing around a ball for
Yeah.
points. I mean, it's more complicated than that. Same with animation. But let's be honest, that's what you're getting mad over. That's what people are literally going to jail for, literally losing their lives over, is people throwing a ball around.
No, and you're so right. I don't know if you know this, but in the news, after the last Super Bowl, there was a commercial. I don't remember what platform it was for,
Yeah.
but it caught what was it? Was it Tubi? I think it might have been Tubi. I don't know. One of the commercials, it like had like the like game stop and like go to like different like looking up different like whatever like different shows on a streaming platform,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people specifically, sorry to single you out, but specifically men, got so angry that there was a lot of domestic violence reports because of it, and it was so outrageous to see that people men were getting so mad over the channel possibly changing, and I was baffled by it. It was so bizarre to see, but I was like, wow, I see where we get it from. Online fandoms are just like sports fandoms. I get it.
Yeah, and I mean, please call us out. Like, there are a subsequent group of men out there, and there are wholesome sports fans, but I think they're overshadowed by a lot of toxic ones that enable a
Right.
culture of like, we can also be abusive to people, just because a game doesn't go our way,
Mm.
and sports fans are big culprits of that. I mean, look at even like what I can say about anime is they're fictional, so they can never truly be corrupted unless it's like the death of the author, right?
Right.
And it's in their purest form, right?
Uh-huh.
Athletes are human, like actors,
Yeah.
like basically musicians and singers and all this, and they can also be at fault for a lot of toxic behavior, right? And things they do,
Yeah.
like cheating, you know, doing drugs, all these negative things, right? So
Right.
So it's to me, it's just baffling for me. It's like if you don't, and it's like in my opinion, you can't call yourself a sports fan. Like let's be honest here. If you're going out and you're getting that upset, you're not a sports fan because that's not why you're really angry. If you were really angry, you'd just be like that game was fucking stupid, but you wouldn't take it out on anyone, right?
Right. No,
Like
I
like
completely
the
agree
like
with
to
you.
me, what's healthy is you shit talking like like for example, what we did during so if you don't know people, we had an anime tournament all the way back I think 2 years ago, and it was literally one of the best times we've had because we were going through categories like best anime, best manga, stuff like that, and we were shitting on each other the entire time. To me, that's healthy. To me, that's fine. That's not toxic behavior. That's just what fandom should be, right? In its very nature is we be
Right.
happy about things, but we can also like shit on each other, but kind of in like a fun way. Not that it hurts anyone because everyone's kind of being shit on.
Keep in mind we're still friends now, so
Yeah,
shitting
exactly.
on each other kind of strengthens friendship.
Yeah, and it's like being honest. Like there's a difference between putting someone down and then putting someone down, but being open to being also put down too, right?
Yeah.
It's like because then it's like more, it's everyone having fun rather than you poking at someone to have fun. There's a clear difference between that. Sports fans, to me, if you don't do like what's healthy is if you're like with your buddies watching the game over drinks, right? Because that's usually how it looks, right? With chips out, right? and you're yelling at the screen like, "What the fuck?" Right? To me, that's fine. It's when you
Right.
break TVs, have public freakouts, like literally scare people in the room that you may attack them because you're so aggressive. That's where I'm like,
Right.
okay, okay, buddy, take it back a little bit. Like sports fans, you need to chill for a hot sec, and it's every sports team too. Like
That's
even my
true.
team, like for me, I'm like, yeah, go 49ers, go U
Right.
of A. But like when people start acting like shit, I'm like, okay, that's a little too far.
No, you're so right. I think that's like where we get it from. Like as like someone on like I don't watch that many sports if you can't tell.
You
But the
watch
sports like
Haikyuu.
I no, I meant like actual sports, Mitchell.
Haikyuu is actual sport. I'm just
No, it's
kidding.
no. I watch real volleyball. I
You
Haikyuu
watch
doesn't.
ice
It's a
skating? Are you saying ice skating, the Olympic sport, is
no.
not a sport?
I'm literally about to get into it, Mitchell. Shut up. Uh, I consume very little like sports content media, whatever. The Olympics is the rare occasion where I will like sit down and like watch, or like I'll put it on like at work when I'm like not doing anything, because like it's sports. No one, it's for all ages, but like football, or like football, basketball, baseball, soccer. Like I've never been into those sports because like my dad was a big sports guy and all my life, and so like it's never interested me. But like no, I see where we get it from, and like it's so bizarre to see like grown men act like actual like toddlers, basically.
Yeah, and it's like there was a video I saw and it actually pissed me off too. It was on Twitter and someone's bringing attention to it. So apparently, this woman, it was after the matter of the fact. So this woman, she's an awful person, by the way. She decides because she's on the jumbotron to flash herself,
Oh,
and she's surrounded by men, and so she quickly does it, and of course they cut away, but you still kind of see it. And so
right,
the men are cheering like, "Hey, yeah," because they're dumb sports fans, right? Toxic sports fans, I
right,
will say.
right.
This mom, rightfully so, is pissed off and she's down the aisle and she sees her. So she starts yelling at her. Like, how can you do that? Because guess what? Her son, her 6-year-old son, is at the game. So of course she's
Right.
getting in her face. Now, this scene is, like nothing bad has happened. It gets much worse, I'll tell you. The men, someone in the back. So they're all booing this mom who's doing the right thing, which is just disgusting. Someone in the back, or multiple people in the back, I will say, throw beer on her. So now the mom is soaked in beer and she now has to walk away. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are pieces of shit. You guys clearly don't like the game because all you care about is, boobs. All you want really is to be assholes, and,
Right.
be the most chaotic pieces of shit in public. And I'm like, you know, I was like, if you were really there for the sports game, you would be paying attention to the football, going on, not, surrounding this
Mm-hmm.
woman, and like fawning over her, you know, like actual animals. So when you say like, "Oh, I hate men," this and that, and please be sure, like, please be assured that like I understand because I've seen behavior like that, and that makes me just,
Right.
it's just disgusting. Like, I think there's a lot to me. I think the biggest problem with people is like when we say like when you attack sports fans and stuff like that in generalized terms, or like we hate men, we don't really mean all men or all sports fans. We specifically mean when we see instances like this, the specific cases of behavior that just needs to stop, that should be intolerant.
Exactly.
So and I want to actually transition from that to, let's talk about another example of toxic, but for
Are we gonna
the
talk
the
about
female
Disney
side.
adults? Because I've
I'm
been wanting to talk about Disney adults, so we're not talking about Disney adults. Never mind.
Disney adults. Well, we can go
Yeah,
from
do you
Disney
know
adults, but I
Disney
want to
adults?
I want to first talk about Twilight fans, and then we can go.
Twilight fans, what did they do to you?
Have you seen their shipping? Like they like.
Yeah, Mitchell, that book came out when I was like 9.
Yes, it's a problem though, because like, let's be honest here, they shouldn't be that obsessed over literally two characters. Like the fact that it was either Edward and Jacob, right? and they were
Yeah,
fighting over it.
but it was the same way for, like, Hunger Games or, like, Divergent or, like, anything like, any other dystopian book that was written in that time period.
Yeah, but you can't say they had the same impact of literally 2 like, 1 female lead and then 2, like, male co-leads
They
vying for
did,
affection.
they did, that's what Hunger Games was.
I mean, okay, okay, I can see the Hunger Games, but the others, I wouldn't say so. I think the others
Okay,
were very much straightforward.
okay.
But yeah, but my point is that, well, I don't know, I was just trying to make a point that, shipping is toxic still, even in,
Yeah,
literature outside of
absolutely it
anime.
is.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
point, yeah.
no, it absolutely is. Listen, I I don't just consume anime like fan fiction. I consume all kinds of fan fiction because I diversify. That's my claim to fame, is diversifying it. But no, I have read so many different types of fan fiction for different, different background, different like media types and whatever. No, shipping is all the same no matter what type of media it is, for comics, for anime, for manga, for even like real. I hate real people fics. People write like real people fics, and I hate
Yeah.
that because like they're real. Or like K-pop fics. I don't like K-pop fics either, but that's a different thing. Um, or like YouTuber fics. Anyway, not the point. That's just me. Um, but no, shipping is awful no matter what, and like you have to at the end of the day just be like, these aren't real people. Because I don't read real people fics because that's fucking weird. If you do, I'm so sorry. But I don't read weird like real people fics. But like at the end of the day, I know, one, they're not real. Two, they don't affect my life that much because I am a grown adult. And three, they're not real. You just got to realize they're not real and they have no impact on your life other than you probably telling your friends that you're reading fan fiction, and then your friends judge you a little bit, but that's okay.
You read fan fiction? What the hell? I'm just
I
kidding.
know, God, it's not like I talk about it every 30 seconds of my life. Not
Yeah,
the side eye, rude.
yeah. I don't know. I guess this is a perfect segue to go into, I guess, what you wanted to talk about, which is
Oh my God, Disney adults. I
yep.
love talking about Disney adults. Oh my God, they're so bizarre. It's so
Well, here's
wild to watch.
you know what's funny? As much as I wanna bash quote unquote Disney adults, I will say, they are, I will say, a lot more tame. It's weird, it's weird. There's a lot of good Disney adults that are just kinda
Oh yeah,
quirky, but there's also, it's weird, but I think there's less, to me, it's not egregious like some of the other fandoms.
yeah.
It's just, when it's bad, it's it's bad, but it's just kinda there, compared to these other fandoms.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Cause like even like video game like people like I don't know, video game fans who are like really fucking weird to me. No, but like Disney people, like you're on either two sides of the spectrum. You're a normal person about Disney, which I am because I've never been to the parks and I don't care, whatever. Do I want to go? Yeah, because I want to go drink around the world and I think that sounds like fun because I'm yet again 23-year-old adult. But then there's people that take it a little too far. It is people who I have seen TikToks of like physically like pushing down children to get in front of them in
Oh, you're
line.
talking about them. I thought you were going a
Yeah,
different route.
I'm not talking about like the normal adults that like either have kids or just, normal. I'm talking about the adults that like go like consistently every day. Like every day they're at the park or every like they like tell all their friends about it. It's like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, because
Truly.
I thought you were talking about, the vloggers. I'm like, the vloggers are actually some of the coolest people I've seen, because I've seen
No, I
vloggers
don't
where
care
they're
about the vloggers.
because I've seen them, because they go literally every day. They'll see someone in line, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna cut you off." And then there's one I was watching where they were in line for a character, and then they're like, "Oh, the end of the line's here, because we can only squeeze you in." And it's the vlogger. And there's a little girl behind them, and they're like, "Yo, you
Right.
know what? Actually, you can go first." It's like,
Yeah.
so, there's a good part, but,
No, yeah.
yeah, no, there are no, I wouldn't even call them Disney fans, I call them literal man children, and, what's the equivalent on the female side? What'd you call them?
Women children.
Women children, I guess? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We
it's
just call them
so,
cat children in
yeah,
general.
just children. They no, but here's the funny thing, we call them children, But, like, most children would act more mature than they do. It's like an
Oh, yeah,
insult to
absolutely.
children. That's what's so funny.
No, it's so bizarre, and, like, like I said, I've seen, like, people push kids, like, out of the way to get, like, go, like, watch the parade, and I'm like, "The parade is not for you. It is for that six-year-old that you push down."
Yeah, like,
Um,
have you seen, there's people when they, like, open, like, different areas of Disneyland, um, like, if you look at, like, the videos online, there's literal adults that will sprint to get, like, be the first in lines, and it's all the
oh,
children that are
yeah.
left behind.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
"What? What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's, like, so bizarre, like, I've never been to, like, either one of the parks
Yeah.
because, I grew up in Texas, um, you know, but, like, I think that it's something that, like, you have to realize who is this built for, and clearly it's not built for the 33-year-old woman that just, pushed past the child to be in the line for whatever ride, but it's built for, like, a 10-year-old who, like, still sees magic in the world, and you're just like, I'm not a 10-year-old anymore, but,
Oh,
like, I'm assuming they see magic in the world, so."
pet peeve at Disneyland, I just remembered. My pet peeve at Disneyland is, when they have the fireworks display, and have you
Right.
seen videos of that?
I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah. So
videos of
you're aware of that.
Disneyland,
So
yeah.
it's all dark, right? Because they turn off the lights to do it, and then they'll have, like, the projections on the castle.
Right.
Grown adults, I would get it if it's a kid. Grown adults raise their hands up to record it, and so you see the light of their phone. And
Tragic.
everyone does that, and it's all adults. I'm like, "Are you insane?" Like, don't like, you can literally look this up on YouTube. You don't need and from, like, the official Disney page. Why are you blocking, little kids who just wanna see this, You're blocking the way because you wanna record it, that for something later
Right.
that you'll maybe show someone once or twice.
Right.
Like, the audacity of people, it's crazy.
That is so bizarre. Cause like, first of all, why are you recording fireworks? You can literally see like, I get it's Disney, but also, it's not that big of a deal. It is
Yeah,
fireworks.
or
I'm
just stand
sorry.
in the back and record it. Like, why are you
Yeah.
taking that away from, like, people? And to me, it's not like I don't want them to die or anything, right? Or I
Right.
don't want them like, all I want for them is just to change. Like, it should be a social change. Like, be courteous because let's be honest, Disney, they're a kid friendly brand, right? Like,
Right.
the Sayorious YouTube channel will not align itself with Disney because we are far different. The Sayorious brand has way too much mature content for Disney. Maybe on Hulu, I'm hoping, Disney. If you put me on Hulu, I'll accept. But aside from
Wow.
that, it's gonna be, mainly geared towards kids.
Right.
The fact that a lot of
No,
adults
that's so
don't
fair.
realize that or have that self awareness, I don't know, it just baffles
Mhm.
me. Whenever I see kids and I'm with friends, like I've literally been to several different countries with friends. I've been to Disneyland, I think, on several occasions. When I'm with, like, my older family members and friends and we see a young person, like a kid, I'll let them have priority. I was like, "Oh, do you wanna see better?" And I'll make room for them because I'm like, at the end of
Right.
the day, it's them. It's not for you, it's for,
Right.
it's for, like, the younger, kids to have that experience, and the fact that a lot
Mhm.
of, like, I don't know, to me, it's so crazy that a lot of people will still be unfiltered, like, in Disneyland. Like, I've seen straight up, like, people our age to straight up adults be swearing. I'm like, "Do you not see, like, who's around you?" Like, F-bombs, like, like, galore. It's crazy.
Well, I get, like, in Disneyland, like, yeah, you probably should watch your language, but, like, even in public that I don't censor myself around kids
Well,
because,
yeah,
like,
but, like, I would say
I
public is
think
more
no,
excusable, but, like,
but
you're literally
to your point, I
yeah.
agree that you're in Disneyland that is designed for children, you probably should, check
Well,
yourself.
like, okay, and here's the thing, right? If it was like Indiana Jones or Star Wars or one of the where it's more preteens, teenagers there, right? I would get that. But we're talking they're right next to the teacups. They're right next to like Tinkerbell, where it's only little kids and they're like swearing. That's what I'm
Well,
referring
yeah,
to.
don't do
Because
that. Don't be a dick. Yet again,
because
moral of
I
the
mean,
story, don't be a
you worked
dick.
at a place with kids, right?
Yeah.
Would you like swear in that
No,
place.
absolutely.
That's
Like,
my point. That's my point.
sometimes it slips out, but, like, at the same
But you
time,
try
like,
not to. It's the attempt that matters.
you don't do
Yeah.
it. You don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it slips out, but, like, at the end of the day, you know not to do it, and I agree with you in the point that, like, Disneyland, Disney World, whatever, is for children. If you wanna cuss, take it to Six Flags.
Yep, exactly. And it's and maybe not even cussing, I will say. It's also like just the vulgarity of language. Cuz some people will be very explicit in terms of what they'll say. And
What are
so
you overhearing at Disneyland?
like here's the thing, it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it sticks out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
anything vulgar in that capacity will stick out.
yeah, but like it's like I mean it sticks out because it's so bad.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
see.
So I don't know. For me, I don't know. Well, like okay, so one of the things so we have to get back on topic. Toxic fandoms. So, referring to sort of the Disney adults, I think also what's bad about sort of the toxic part of sort of Disney adults is the fact that sometimes they'll have a family. And there's two different ways it can be toxic. One, cause a
Children in
fit,
general.
fight the employees because the ride breaks down, or fights like another family, like the dad of another family, right, in public, and
Right.
just make a scene in front of everyone, right? Or two, or two, I think the second is you have the like the parents who literally won't care about their children who are like I would get if you're like 13 or 14, or even 12.
Mhm.
But I've seen, like, adults let their six-year-olds go through crowds, parades, and just let them run, and like, "Yeah, they'll come back." I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
that's
no.
neglect, like, what are you doing? Like, please watch your children, please like, they literally say, "Please supervise your children." Because I've seen kids,
Right.
like, literally shove past people just to get to the front. If they
Yeah.
asked, we would've let them, but they're just shoving their way because they have no manners, they have no they haven't been raised right, clearly.
Yeah, I just think, kids, teens in general, this is just my as someone who A works in childcare and B getting their master's degree in childcare. I have a lot to say about teenagers and how parents are raising kids nowadays, but like I'll keep it brief. Um, they're not raising their kids, and kids have unlimited internet access now, and like we did as kids too. I mean, I did. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Mitch.
Well,
But I did,
I
and
had the
like, but
tail
like,
end, yeah.
yeah, but like, I am worse for wear because of it, and like now I tell kids that I know, like, hey, don't do it, it's bad, and they still do it anyway. I'm like, but they have more. Like we had in our time, I had Facebook, I had Wattpad, and I think I had Tumblr, and that was it. But that was more than enough for me to like get seriously like overwhelmed with how much content there was on the internet, but like there's more nowadays, and like it's so bizarre to see that, and like parents aren't raising their kids nowadays.
Yeah.
They're letting iPads raise their children.
Oh, I've seen kids as young as, like, 2 years old have their own iPads. I'm like,
Yeah,
"You gave them an
an
iPad
iPad.
at 2?" I'm like to me, that's crazy because it's like, one, my parents personally, my parents didn't let me have, like, game consoles or controllers.
Mhm.
Like, the only thing I had was a Leapfrog at age 10, and that had math games on it with no internet
Nice.
access.
Right.
And the only time I got something that was like a physical console was the Wii when I was, I think, 11.
Oh my god, I had a Wii when I was like
Yeah,
8, like the very first Wii that came out.
it wasn't until I was 13 that I actually got my own phone, and then I was
Same.
able to kinda search, but I didn't know how to use it. It was more me just using it for text and calls and stuff like that. I had no access to the internet. I just had my mom's computer, which I use Facebook sometimes, and that was it. So, for me, when kids have so much access to that, I'm like, 1, you're not learning to go outside. 2, you're not realizing you're to socialize with people. Because I think like, my biggest concern, and I told you about this, I think the whole argument that shooting video games, Call of Duty, as much as you wanna hate on them for their story decisions to whatever, right, and controversies, I do
Mhm.
not believe FPS, first person shooters, cause school shootings.
Mhm. Oh, they don't.
It's a
Absolutely
myth
not.
because it's just them being mentally ill. The issue I think
No,
that
yeah, you're right.
causes shootings that a lot of people are missing now, because it used to just be mental illness. With the birth of the internet, something else, something more dangerous has come afoot, and that is
Mhm.
online forums.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have people, I think that is the most dangerous thing to happen to the world, because now you have people from wherever in the country that can see your content. Like, stranger watching this video, if you made it this far, you are watching me. I don't know you. And everything I say, you're taking that in. You're taking in that information. And there are certain creators out there who have started to build these sort of clusters of ideologies and stuff like that. Politics have just made it worse. But you have it now to the point where you'll get sucked in and you'll get stuck there. And the problem now is kids are very, and you know this, very impressionable.
Oh, yeah.
And the hardest thing as a kid growing up that you have to learn, and it comes with puberty, it comes with having life experiences, is adults aren't always right. Sometimes adults are very wrong, you know?
Mhm.
And you have sometimes you're like, even your parents can be wrong too. And it's like, it's the hardest part dealing with that, and then also like truly coming out of your like your own, like figuring out your own identity, you know? It's like,
Right.
who am I? Like, if everything I knew growing up is wrong, then what am I supposed to do? You know,
Mhm.
that's sort of the difficult conversation that a lot of people had. And it used to be you had to surround yourself with friends growing up. Back in the days where there was no internet, right? You had to deal with your community and just kind of had to work through it, right, with what you had. The
Right.
internet created safe spaces, which some were good, but a lot of them took advantage of that, and now you have these forums, right? These radical forums, where now they're enabling you to invite you into joining them because you may agree with them on a certain point, and they're radicalizing you, and it's becoming
Mhm.
much more dangerous. And fandom is an example of that. It's 100% an example of that, because
Absolutely.
because let's be honest, you would be bullied, right? Say, if you said some of the things you were back in the day. Forums have
Oh,
now
yeah.
created where they can now connect you with someone who thinks the exact same way and validate your shit opinion. So,
And sometimes your shit opinion should not be validated.
yeah.
Mitchell likes Detective Conan, and that should not be validated.
Hey, fuck you. Yeah, but you get my point, right? Like what you I mean, I talked for a lot. So, what do you think about
No,
that?
I agree. I think getting on like the back on the topic of like fandom and like not even yeah, toxic fandom is always good, like it's always been a thing, it's going to continue being a thing. Like you have like you have anti like stands, you have like cyberbullying, you have all these like different like doxing, you have all these like different bad things, but at the same time I think that fandom is so important to a lot of people because it's that shared experience, and because you're getting that like shared experience with people. Because I grew up in fandom from a fairly young age, and like, was it the best for me? Probably not, but like, it made me who I am, and like. You know this, like I'm very strong about very strong willed about my opinions on stuff like I watch and I read and stuff like that. um and so like I think fandom is important to a lot of people, but also I think people take it way too seriously. I think that it's something that like, yeah, it's fun. Like some people, mainly, people that are, under the age of 18, make it their whole personalities. And it's not. This is only a part of your personality. Anime, whatever you like, sports, anime, whatever, comics, it's a part of you. It's not you and yourself.
Yeah,
And I think that's something really important to know and recognize, because at the end of the day, you cannot present your fan fiction when you wrote when you were 14 to your boss when you are 23. They are two separate people. Yes, that 2014 fan fiction will always be a part of you, and you will remember it, and it is very haunting. But it made you who you are as a 23-year-old. Yeah, this is a really real example. But I because I can, like, I talk to my friends about anime, but I won't talk to people I work with about anime. Like, you have to have multi sides to your personality, and that's what everyone is.
Yeah, and it's like to your point too, like I like this isn't me bashing fandom. This is just like the toxic part because you know what it is. We need more social norms. Like we joke about bring back bullying, right?
Yeah.
But what we
No, I think
really
we
yeah,
should.
yeah, but what we really
Sorry.
mean by that is, as much as we like to joke about it, like, what we really mean by it is, like, we need some social norms back put in place
No,
because
you're right.
some people got a lot way too comfortable. Like
Yeah.
the fact that I see some My Hero TikToks where they'll have cool cosplays, they'll show off cool cosplays, which I'm all for, but then they're like, "No, I am Midoriya. My whole personality is Midoriya. I
Yeah.
live and breathe Midoriya." I'm like,
Right.
that's a little too far. I think you went, I think,
Just
10 steps
just
in the
one step
wrong.
a little, yeah,
Yeah.
one step in the wrong direction. No, and I completely agree with you. Like we say like go touch grass, like, bring back bullying, whatever, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, by the way, you should not bully anybody. We're not here to promote bullying.
This is a
But
joke. Yeah.
this is a joke. We are not here to promote bullying. I want that to be on the record. But it is, yes, people, kids, young adults, anyone under the age of 20, because yes, 20-year-olds too, just need like a reality check. At the end of the day, they need a reality check, because without it, you go unchecked for so long, it just becomes your norm, and then you go out into the real world and you realize that you cannot operate in that space as who you are online, and they're very two vastly different people. And what you post on the internet stays with you. If it's public, people can see it. So whatever fucking TikTok you're making that you are Zuko Midoriya, you are not. You are some random person that whatever job you're about to get, they will see it and they will be like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Just saying it. It stays with you.
Oh, and also, like, it's kinda related. Sometimes sometimes people are like sometimes people don't genuinely know that, but sometimes they do. But the
Mhm.
clout gets to them, and they're like, "If
Mhm.
I go viral, I'm gonna make it big." So,
Yeah.
and to me, that's like to me, it's a tragic tale because you have Salt Bay, an example like Salt Bay, where it's like
Damn, not
someone
Salt
who
Bay.
literally capitalizes. No, everyone's attacking him now because of what happened at the World Cup, rightfully
Right.
so. But it's like an example like him, where it's like he became so big for this one thing he did that was entertaining at the time, right? That
Right.
he has to make that his entire personality for the rest of his life if he wants any
Oh,
success. Because as like a personality, because that's the cost of instant fame. Is like that's what happened to Psy. Like Psy in Gangnam Style, like sure he got notoriety. Yeah, he still has like a sizable base, but what he could have had has literally been squashed. Like the
mhm.
most popular he's ever gonna get has now faded away because of Gangnam Style.
No, and I completely agree with that. Even like people like internet personalities, like like PewDiePie, Markiplier, all of like Tyler Oakley, all of the like relevant people in like early 2013, like 2014, like all of those people like had like their like fame or whatever, but look at they're not really around it. I mean, like Markiplier is, so is PewDiePie. Like, but they're like those other people, like those other like talk people, they're not really around anymore. Those other vloggers are not around, and so now they're getting replaced with like TikTokers. I'm like, as as an older person who is in this space, like VidCon was always like a big thing because like everyone wanted to go to VidCon and like meet everybody, but like now I look at it, I'm like, who are these people? I don't know who these people are. But it's really fun. It's really funny to see that because like 2014 DJ was been like, yeah, I want to go to VidCon and meet all these people, but I never did. But I was like, I want to go meet all these people, and like now I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are at all.
Yeah. It's so to me it's so wild too with conventions because I'm a big fan of like you spoke about VidCon. So I'm a big fan of Trash
Hmm.
Taste. They're
Hmm.
the anime channels, right? The trio, the Sea Dog VA, Giguk, and Anime Man, right?
Hmm.
And they recently because I posted it in the Discord saying who wants to go because they're coming to Arizona. Um They posted that they were gonna go on tour, like world tour, from Europe
Uh-huh.
to from Europe to the US, and it was crazy, like this big event. I watched some of their panels, and to me, it's so weird looking at their Twitch chat to like what people are posting in their comments to actually seeing their fans in person. And I'm not gonna lie, like it's just so weird to me. Like same with like the Steven Universe panel. Like I watched a video on the Steven Universe panel, like to look at their
Mhm.
fans. I'm like, damn, the like it looks so different from what I've been imagining.
Right.
So to me, that's
I
like the
think
power of
yeah.
fandom is like you have this perception of like what you think they are online based
Mhm.
on how they act, and then you look at them in real life, you're like, damn, damn, I
No,
like,
I
yeah,
I completely agree. I can give you a real like life example. I went to go see a YouTuber that, was really popular when I
yeah,
was like in high school. I saw them in December. But like when I got there, I was like, I am so normal about seeing this YouTuber compared to the rest of the people that are here. And it was so like just like because I went to go see it with my sibling.
yeah,
um so I was like, this is so like bizarre to be like, yeah, I like them in a casual way, but these people do not like them in a casual way. Like they were like shouting things during the performance, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? What is happening? Like I felt so validated in my normalcy to like behave like a real person, and it was just baffling to me. But like, yeah, like you go in there and you don't know what to expect until you're in there.
yeah. Because I'm gonna be honest, some of the Trash Taste fans are kind of cringe. Because it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
to your
what this
point,
was. It was cringe.
yeah, because it's like, because that, I mean, to your point, because that's what you're saying with the person who was shouting. Like there was a Q&A for a Trash Taste panel, and one of them asks them a very like, because you know how like they shit on each other, like that's us, right? And that's
Right,
probably one of my favorite parts about like our friend group is we're literally Trash Taste because we go up there, as a group, and we literally shit on each other's takes. Like we shit on each other, right? But it's all
right.
fun, friendly banter, you know. And the problem with YouTube and a lot and Twitch, and a lot of people don't realize that is there's a big there's a big difference from uh watching someone and getting in on jokes to someone
Mhm.
like actively making jokes at people that you don't know because it's the parasocial relationship.
Mhm.
So it's like, for example, it's like if we actually recorded all of our meetings and our tournament that we did as a friend group, watch like imagine someone coming in and being like, oh yeah, like I remember, for example, Brandon, I'm just gonna throw out his name, they're not gonna know who he is. Brendan, like, fuck you, like your Chizuru pick is absolute dog shit. It's kind of weird because he doesn't really know that person, right?
Right.
Because the only like we have no interaction with the people like listening, like you listening to this podcast slash, or it's not a podcast, it's a video. God damn it. Ugh.
Damn.
But it's like us talking to you, viewer, is very, very different from you listening to us because you're getting more. You see us, we don't see you. And
Mhm.
it's this weird thing with parasocial relationships. And to your point, where it's like fandom can be weird sometimes because when you see like actors in person, you don't really know how to act with them because everything you've seen of them is on camera.
Right.
It's not really them in daily lives, and you didn't have time. They don't even know you, so how are they supposed to react to you? You know?
No, you're so right. And I think that like I agree with the point that like you're making. And like yeah, you just have to everyone is just a person at the end of the day. You just got to treat them like people. Like yeah, that might be like Dwayne the Rock Johnson like 20 feet away from you, but he's a dude, man. He's just a dude.
Oh, the amount of times I've seen did you see the video of the imposter rock
Yeah.
where like these girls came up to this random dad because he looked like the Rock, and
Yeah.
even okay, even though yes, I know Sirius through his Twitch streams. Yeah, but you're part of the friend group, okay? You already know. But anyways, the girls like don't get me wrong, it's like cool, you went up, you thought it was him, you want to take pictures, that's kind of funny. But then these girls start trying to grind on him. I'm like, okay,
It's really
personal
weird.
space. Like, to me, that's just wild. Like, same with actors too. Like, sometimes people just want to outright disrespect actors or violate their personal spaces. I'm like, just because you watch them in like a couple movies doesn't give you the right. It's so
It's like
weird
my
to me.
guy. Like my guy, fucking chill for a second. Know that they are people and they still have boundaries.
Yeah, it's like what is it? Like there was a did you see the Loki one when he was doing the signing?
I know of it. I did not see the video.
So he was doing a signing, and Tom Hiddleston, one of the greatest people ever. Um,
Oh my god, so kind.
he's amazing. Like this girl goes up to her, and she basically says like, "Oh yeah, I'm a stripper." Like, do you want to know what I do for like a living? I'm a stripper. And then he's like, "Oh," and he doesn't know how to react to that. He just kind of smiles and then hands her back. I'm like, you wouldn't do that to a normal person. Like just because they're a celebrity or a YouTuber or whatever,
Right.
you wouldn't just go up to someone. You literally made him uncomfortable. And like I used a girl as an example this time. Let me use a guy because it's also guys. Like guys when it comes to like what is it? Guys when it comes to some of like the biggest Twitch streamers that are females too. Like just talking about fandom in terms of like the YouTube scale. Like Pokimane, for example. Like I think that's she's the is she the biggest one?
Mhm.
I think she's the
I
biggest one.
think so. Female? Yeah.
You know the amount of like she will talk about the messages she receives to like the
Oh yeah, it's
fans. It's
awful.
like it's awful. And I so my heart goes out to all like female creators and like gamers too because like I was listening to this podcast which a lot of people aren't aware of is when females join like game streams, they'll just like if they're talking in the like the voice channel, all the guys cuz it's majority guys playing these games will pick up on that and start, yelling insults at her just to be funny. Like, go back to the kitchen, you're just a woman. You can't do this, right? Let me take care of it, sweetie. And I'm like,
Just
what the
so
fuck?
funny.
Just treat her like
It's
normal. She's just there to
it's
game. It's like, don't be weird about it.
it's so funny because like it implies first of all that they cannot cook for the life of them, and I think that's really funny. Like
Yeah.
my guy, that's not impressing any woman anywhere on the planet.
Yeah. What women want is actual house husbands. Like the way the house
Yeah,
husband is
you're
like,
right.
yeah, yeah,
No, you're absolutely right. If I, God forbid I ever get married, but if I do, that man is going to be a house husband. I do not care.
yeah. I mean, house husbands for the win. Like, like the fact that like I don't know. I just love the fact that there's like sort of this switch in gender roles. Because I'm for one love the traditional sense. Like if it's healthy, it's fine. But if you also reverse it and just treat it normally, I think it's also fine. And I think that's how
Right.
it should be. It's like literally just sometimes I want to like when it comes to fandom, I'm like just act normal. And that sounds crazy for someone who is an anime fan who's literally dressed up in a dress once saying act normal, but I really mean it. Act normal, guys. It's not that
Yeah,
hard.
no, we're the poster children for acting normal. We say as we said we dressed up for what movie was it that we dressed up for? Was it the Demon Slayer
It
movie?
was the
No,
no, it was the My Hero
it was
movie,
the
but we
My
dressed up
Hero
as
movie.
Demon Slayer characters.
That's
That's the
right, but it was Halloween. I want to say that it was
It was for
Halloween.
Halloween though. It was for Halloween though. Yes, it was.
But once again, like I would never do that by myself. I did it with a group of people because I am normal. But like, you always do dumb shit with your friends,
Or
and so that was our
or
dumb shit
the
moment.
I would say the other to play is dress up, but only dress up if you know everyone else is like you're going to a convention, right? And you're gonna
Oh
meet
yeah.
people, right? Because I actually follow this guy. Like I started to get more into cosplays, like looking at cosplayers. Like me personally, I don't cosplay, but I love looking at people and seeing the creative ways they dress up as like characters. And my favorite, I shit you not, my favorite person is not a girl who dresses up in cosplays like anime characters. It's a guy. Let's see if I can pull him up. Because what he does is he's like ripped, but what he does is he basically takes his physique and dresses up in every single buff character from JoJo to Berserk to Leon from Resident Evil and Zoro. I'm like, see, this is cool. Like not everything like back in the day, I love to say that anime has evolved because it became less on guys, you know, waiting for the cute girl to dress up as their waifu, right? Their character that is
Mhm.
their waifu, right? And it's more of an acceptance of guys can also be cool too. And like guys and girls can have that, or everyone in between too, right? It's really been shattered in terms of the expectations.
Mhm. No, you're very right.
Yeah, because yeah, go ahead.
I I'm gonna talk very briefly about Broadway fans or like musical
Oh,
fans. Just because I don't know if you have a lot of experience, but I have a lot of experience with musical theater kids, especially. And
mhm.
I think they're so fucking crazy that like for sometimes it's fun. Like if because I was a theater kid,
You were?
obviously.
That
I
explains so
was.
much.
Oh my god, I know it's not like I've ever talked about this to you beforehand. Um but I was a theater kid. Like it was a lot of fun. But like as I grew up, like, I stopped doing it like junior year of high school. Like I haven't done it like for a little bit now. Like it's still a part of me, but people who make like musicals, yet again, people who make something their whole personality, but especially musical theater kids, because it's like, bestie, you know you're not gonna go to Broadway. You know you're not gonna do it. Why do you keep telling people that you are? Um, it's just so bizarre to me. Um, just because, musical theater kids, they're known for like being over the top and over exaggerating and blah 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 blah. But like I think it's really funny to think about. Because Mitchell, I haven't told you this yet, or Sayoris, I haven't told you this yet. But I got tickets to something called a Broadway rave for this Saturday, and I am not looking forward to it because I know the type of people that are gonna be there.
So it's just a rave of Broadway? A
Yes.
bunch of theater
Yes,
kids? Damn.
it is exactly what it sounds like, and I am not looking forward to it, but because I am of age, I am going to have many drinks.
Well, for me, I look at theater kids as kind of, I mean, it's a stigmatization. I know a lot of theater kids are actually really chill, but
No, they're not.
in terms of the ones that are a little bit too what's the word for it? Too crazy. Uh Shoot, I just lowered my volume. What the heck? Let me raise the volume. But anyways, the fact that so you'll have theater kids that will to me, I look at it like this. To me, anime fans, they fall like the toxic anime fans, you know, that like love objectifying women and stuff like that. Like the insult kind of part of that, right?
Right.
I would say they fall into the category of extreme introverts, right? They never leave their rooms, are like chronically online, right?
Right.
And they are probably some of the examples of some of the worst people because of it, because they are so toxic they're like terminally online Twitter, you know? There's nothing worse than that. Theater kids are the opposite side. I think they're the toxic part of extroverts, where
Oh, yeah.
they go way out of their way. Yeah, that was
They
like my little tangent, but my point is
they
they're
will
the
have a
toxic
bad day, and
extroverts. Yeah.
everyone's problem, and it's very interesting to see. No, I cannot, I cannot deal with theater kids at this point. Uh, they're just too much for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Oh wait, did I tell you I technically qualify as a theater kid?
Do you?
In 4th and 5th grade, I was in a play.
Nope, doesn't count.
Damn it. It was a school play.
Nope,
However,
still
I had
doesn't
a
count.
prominent role with speaking lines. So,
Whoa, how many lines did you have?
4.
No,
Nope,
it still
5.
doesn't count.
It
It does
counts.
not
It
count.
counts.
It does count. No, it doesn't.
It counts. I was
It doesn't.
see, I was at the beginning of we did damn, what's the word? What's it? It's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. What was it called?
I don't know. What was it called?
Dorothy and Tudo and
Are you talking about Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz. Thank you. I was actually gonna punch a hole in a wall. That's the toxic part of me. Toxic fandom.
I knew
I did
it.
Wizard of Oz, I think, in 4th grade, and I was actually Hunk, one of the
Wow.
farmhands at the beginning and the end. So I would
Wow.
technically had a presence throughout the whole film and slash play
Uh-huh.
because I played a role at the beginning and end. So
You really held that play
I held
together,
it
didn't
together.
you?
I held it together and I carried my role. It was amazing.
I'm so proud of you, but that does not count.
It counts.
No,
I was integral to the role because I was one
you
of the
really were.
farmhands. I ran the farm, okay?
That's not what a farmhand does, but okay.
Fair point. Anyways, moving on. So theater kids are bad, but also okay, I want to transition because you know what goes well with theater and lots of theater actors?
What?
Marvel movies. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh my god.
So let's talk
Oh my
about
god. Just
Marvel
end
fans.
my suffering here. You know what? I'm done. Oh, Marvel fans. Oh, I'm a Marvel fan, but yet again, I consume any type of media very casually. Like I don't from a few things. I don't obsess over a lot. Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles not being one of those because I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Um, but I don't obsess over a lot of things. But like Marvel movies, like they've been around since I was like 10. Like it was a thing. The first Marvel movie like I ever saw in theaters was in fact the 2008 Iron Man. I think it was 2008.
Yeah, that's when it
Don't
came
come
out.
for me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. But you know, it's been a big part of my life for like the better part of a decade. Um, but like some people take it a little too far, and some people being some of our friends.
Yeah. I mean, well, like it to me, it's like the same dilemma with the Star Wars fans because either you love to hate it or you hate to love it,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you have a third category, you love to love it, where it's like
right,
they can do no wrong, Marvel can do no wrong, and I'm like, well,
right. I mean, like I think I don't straddle like I think I straddle the boat of like I love to like love it, like
how
but I'm in
dare
a
you?
very different hold on. I'm in a very different boat of love to love it. I don't honestly like I take it at face value for whatever they give me because like, it's a Marvel movie. I know what I'm gonna get whenever I walk into a Marvel movie. Like I'm gonna get 2.5 hours of just like pure like, I just want to see Captain America whack some people sometimes, even though he's not around anymore, like in the movies. But I sometimes just want to watch Captain America, like, whack some bad guys. I don't care about, like, what's happening in the comics, unlike some people I know. But,
Damn.
like, sorry. Not really, though. But I think that, yeah, I just kind of take it at face value. So I don't know what boat I would reside in, but I reside in that one.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, Marvel movies have always been an interesting thing because it's like, on one hand, to me, it was great when people, again, were just casual about it. Like, it's just like, oh, it was a good movie. It had a couple of flaws here and there, but like any blockbuster does, every single blockbuster has a few flaws. You'd be lying to yourself if you thought otherwise. But to me, it's just like if you just take it casually, it's fine. But then people started to like the fact that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania came out. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually in the camp that actually enjoyed it more than a lot of people.
Right.
However, there are some people who are like, well, like although like they won't even say it's bad. They'll say, "Oh, it's a really great setting up point for the next movie, for the next phase." I'm like, "Okay, you're being a little bit weird now because you just don't want to explicitly say it's bad." I'm like, "Just be normal. Just stop saying like, "Oh, it's setting up the bigger universe so it gets a pass on lots of things it does." And I'm like, no." But then again, you also have all the people who like despise the MCU, like everything they do, and I'm like, okay, that's a little too far too, you know?
No, and I completely agree. I think that like people that are like it's too far fetched, and I'm like they're in space right now. What do you mean it's too far
Oh
fetched?
yeah, I saw that. That was really
What are
funny.
you what are you on about? It's too far fetched. He's a giant man. What? They're giant ants right now talking about socialism. You cannot tell me that this movie is too far. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's for my mom because she always says that about any Marvel movie. She's never gonna see this video, so that's why I say that. My mom says that all the time. I'm like, mom, they're fighting ants right now. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, it's like you have to let it go. Like they're like, well, in a real fight, like they would be dead. I'm like, yeah, no shit, because they're like Doctor Strange should have died during that car crash in the first Doctor Strange. It's like,
Oh yeah.
well, yeah, but he's Doctor Strange, a comic book character. This is a comic book universe. Like Iron Man, let's be completely honest here, should have died. Yet the
Multiple
magic
couple
metal
times.
thing in his chest protects him from dying. You're telling me
Yeah.
you didn't jump off and say, "Oh, that's completely reasonable. That's completely realistic." Like get off. Get out of here, you know?
I think it goes for any comic book universe though, DC, Marvel,
Yeah.
like a special like those two because they're the biggest like proprietors right now. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah.
But I think that the sense of realism has to be suspended a little bit here because you're dealing with people that came from outer space.
Yeah.
They're literally they're literally from outer space.
Yeah. Like you literally introduced time travel. That's like the most fictional concept you can come up with. So I don't know. I don't know, that's crazy,
And you
but
imagine the fight doesn't look real, my guy. They're fighting in space. In
yeah. And like I don't know, for me also like a toxic part about Marvel fans a lot of people don't realize is I am I have a foot in the other camp. I am a certified DC fan, born and
ugh,
raised. I made my YouTube channel literally about DC films. Like this past week I just posted like a ton of DC content just
cool.
to prove that point. But
I haven't seen it, by the way. I'm
nah,
sorry.
you're good. I know it's an hour long. I don't blame you. It's long content. But the fact that like from coming from like an outsider's perspective, looking into Marvel, the Zack Snyder movement, let's be honest here, they are now toxic. They have gone off the rails from what it used to be. It used to be a very
Right.
wholesome niche community. Once we got the Snyder Cut, things changed. Some main players that were very wholesome in the community have now disappeared because they got what they wanted, and a lot of people started to take their places. But my point is early on with the Snyder Cut movement, people were making fun of us like excessively. Like they would
Yeah.
put you down, and you know who they were? Marvel fans. You guys are all failures. You're not gonna get the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut's not real. Stop being dumb. You know, insults after injury, and it wasn't even insults about like our points. It's insults about like literal like insults about our character. Like you guys are dumb. You guys are stupid. Like you guys aren't even thinking. You're brain dead. And I'm like, people aren't really seeing that side of Marvel. Or people are getting like it's like literally the sports fans dilemma. It's like we're just two teams. Like, wouldn't it be better if both teams succeed, right? Or have at least
Right.
something decent at the bottom? And you're just like you're so concentrated on proving that you have the better fandom that you're gonna put down people. It's like get a life, you know, like a real life, not like obsessed over literal fictional movies, you know.
Right. No, I agree with you, and I think that's at the end of the day, any fandom, no matter what, is the same.
It's always the same, yeah. Any closing thoughts? Because I think we're nearing the end.
Um, be a normal person. Please, please, for the love of God, go touch grass. Um, if you've made it this far, heed my advice. Don't write that fan fiction you're about to, because it'll literally alter whatever brain chemistry you have going on right now, and you will not stop thinking about it. Because it did haunt me for the rest of my days. It's still haunting me. But I say that jokingly, but also fandom is so important, and I think that because it's so important to a lot of people, I don't ever see it going away. If anything, it might just become more, divisive, and like you have to make your stand like what you're doing. But I think that if you find like the good parts of fandom, like if you don't expose yourself to all of it all at once, it can be a really fulfilling experience.
I think it's a
Like
double
I
edged
like I
sword. Yeah.
like I said, like I don't interact with like fandom a lot in a lot of the media I consume, but like I'll read fan fiction, and I think it's I think it's like really interesting to like read fan like I my undergrad thesis was about Marvel fan fiction and like how fix it fics were a big part of like the Marvel like universe and stuff like that like for a lot of like people. And so yeah, I think that fandom is really important, but also you have to be a fucking normal person.
Yeah, be an adult about it, you know? Even if you're a
Be an
kid,
adult
be an
about it.
adult
Yeah.
about it. Like just no death threats, okay? That's all we're saying. No death
No
threats.
death threats. No death threats. Be a normal person about it. Treat
Yeah.
people with kindness.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Yep. Peace.